Hello, welcome to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing of the Call of Cthulhu 40th Anniversary Kickstarter Edition, Take 2. Last night, tried to record this video and got about halfway through it and realized that my video had locked up. And rather than do the professional thing and edit it together and try to make a cohesive video out of it, which I'm sure I could have, we decided to do what we always do here at the Unprofessional Unboxing. And if we screw up, we scrap it after yelling at our computer for about 2.5 hours and start all over in frustration. So here we are. And one thing we're going to miss out with this particular unboxing, of course, is removing it from the box, which is no big deal. That just means we don't get to use our wonderful Coleman Camping steak knife here. We will save that for the prop set, unless that one freezes also. But here we are with the Call of Cthulhu 40th Anniversary Kickstarter Edition that I'm going to go through. This is going to be one of two videos. The other one is going to be the prop set from the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society that complements this Kickstarter here. And one of the reasons why it took so long for this video to come up is I was waiting for both of them to arrive together so I can do them all at once. But also, in case you haven't seen the previous video that I had put out there, just a little short, the other delay that has occurred, which has, stopped me from doing these videos and other things for a bit, is we had a little bit of plumbing issue. Right behind this green screen behind me is the offending bathroom where the leak occurred. And long story short, in case you hadn't seen it yet, we had a toilet overflow. It wasn't caught for several hours until we saw the water dripping down one of the lights in the kitchen downstairs. So needless to say, our life has been kind of upended. It's been total chaos here. And trying to do little fun things like these videos have kind of become, second, third, fourth priority, considering all of the things that we're having to do, not only with the situation at hand, but dealing with the reconstruction, everything that goes on. Long story short, again, is everything's okay. It's just going to take time, but until everything is taken care of, it's going to be extremely chaotic around here. All right, moving on. We have here the 40th anniversary Kickstarter reprint of the first edition Call of Cthulhu. Second edition, not entirely sure. In tone of the unprofessional nature of these wonderful videos that I do, I am completely unprepared, recall nothing from my previous knowledge, and have done no prior research before diving into this. But that's not why we're here. We're here to look at what is inside. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open it up and take a look at it. And excuse if my eyes kind of wander over here. That's me checking that I'm not frozen in a really unflattering position that I was last night. So hopefully that doesn't occur. All right. So what we have as soon as we open it up, well, I'm going to just read a little bit of information on the side of the box here, just kind of giving a seatbelt on the box for more information. But what we have here is what you get inside: the Call of Cthulhu Rulebook, the source book for the 1920s, character silhouettes, world map of selected archaeological sites, character sheets, scenarios, handouts, and more. So what is inside this particular box here, this gigantic one, is the original reprints of this edition of Call of Cthulhu, along with some extras to supplement that. What also came with it is this smaller box here. I'll just bring it up. As you can see, it's pretty much identical on the front. But it is smaller, as this is a more faithful recreation of exactly what you would have received when you had purchased this game back in the day. So there's no additional information inside of here. It's just an extra that you were allowed to pick up when you back the Kickstarter. So we will set that one aside here, and we will open this up one more time. Okay, so we have the Call of Cthulhu reprints of the original character sheets from here. The copyright is 1981 and 1983. One of the wonderful things about Call of Cthulhu is through its iterations over the years, from first edition upwards to 7th edition, where it's currently at right now, is one of the wonderful things that they've stuck with is the general aesthetic on how the game works. The skills, sanity, the statistics, most everything is not virtually unchanged with some modifications here or there, but the good news is because of that, it makes their entire run completely backwards compatible. You can run first edition with 7th edition scenarios. You can run 7th edition with first edition scenarios with very little heavy lifting or modifications. And Chaosium does provide a wonderful sheet, or sheets, I should say, regarding how to make these changes within the game if you wanted to move back and forth between the immense amount of gaming stuff. Sorry, a little tired here, but gaming stuff that is available through the entire span of Call of Cthulhu. And that's excellent. Other games such as, we'll take D&D for example. Yes, for the most part, certain things have remained the same, but as far as the game mechanics, not so much. It's not that easy to take a 4th E game adventure and run it in first edition, second, third, or fifth. So you can, but it requires a lot more heavy lifting. So I get sidetracked here for a moment, but back to what we have. So we have the wonderful little sheets here. I would imagine they are double-sided. Yes, they are, because there's quite a bit of information that you do need to record when you create your Call of Cthulhu character. All right, so starting off here, we have a wonderful, wonderful drawing of the big man himself and the Call of Cthulhu Classic Edition, Sandy Peterson. This image here was done by Gene Day. And opening it up, and I apologize if you're picking up my crazy dog in the background. He's talking to the other dogs in the neighborhood, so we'll just have to deal with that until he gets bored. But so here we are. So we have the a reprint of what you were provided when you purchased this game. And one of the things that I love about some of these, they're not always the same, but some of these old school games is their very simple layout. Yes, there is a lot of information here. I don't think it's technically, at least with this layout, is a information overload or a gigantic dump. It is quite a bit of text, but I've seen more dense walls of text in other games that is, essentially crammed together in horrible layout that makes it impossible to read. But crystal clear white pages, a good choice of black font and everything in here. It would, look like that this would be easy to kind of get through. It is, how many pages here? Are there page numbers on here? Yes, just under 100 pages. So not, immediately easy to pick up, but you can get through this in maybe a day or two, and you're off and running with your first Call of Cthulhu game. And not in this particular edition, as quite a few of the older games back in the day, yes, there is some wonderful black and white artwork in here, but not overly dense in the art that they've provided within these books, and they don't take up a lot of space. The information is front and center within this, it looks like. So we continue on through the different sections here. So let's see here. What is... Oh, okay. Table of contents in the back. That's interesting. I don't know if this was... Well, I would imagine this is how it was done. A design choice for this particular time. But within here, what you would get is an introduction to what this game is, how to do character creation, game system and skills as we go through a variety of different ones. Some of these have been modified and changed over the years, renamed, combined together and whatnot. But for the most part, everything is as it was today, as it was then. A good amount of information on sanity, dealing with this, I would imagine when it came out, a relatively new concept and mechanic. Of course, you would want details on that. And then, of course, the largest amount of details in the book looks like for the Cthulhu mythos. A lot of people my age, and also younger and older, their first introduction to H.P. Lovecraft wasn't necessarily his stories, it was this game. So this would have been a foundation for them to branch out into the works of H.P. Lovecraft, mythos, horrors, and other things that kind of revolve around that. So this would have been a just an eye-opening event for a young me if this was available when I was younger. Not that it wasn't. It's just my gaming group when I was younger. We were pretty much D&D centric. I did try several times, as I mentioned in other videos, to introduce new games and whatnot to them. But after several failed attempts, it just pretty much just wasn't worth the time and the money. And we just continue on playing D&D until Spelljammer came along and killed that group. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, carrying on, we have magic and spells. Magic and spells would have been another different situation when you read about this, because it's not the magic and spells that you would have been used to in Dungeons and Dragons, nor would it have been things that you would have experienced in other games such as Warhammer or even RuneQuest for that matter. If you happen to go that route with your first Chaosium product, as opposed to Call of Cthulhu. So, and then carrying on, how to run the game, a small section on how to set up scenarios in the campaign. We have 3 ready-made scenarios. The Haunted House, the classic one, which I believe is currently available in 7th edition in the starter set, the starter box set, which I would imagine is going to be carried over into the redoing their starter set, I believe. And that should be coming out soon enough. And then, of course, we have the appendices regarding a variety of things, such as probably more in-depth than what Appendix X would be. Can't talk. But there you go. So you do get a ton of information. And this is kind of for me, is an outline how a lot of games should present themselves as far as the correct order on how the information should be provided to you. And likewise, very important, ready-to-play scenarios so you can experience the game as the creators and the authors intended it to a certain degree, rather than try to figure out yourself with a bunch of tools. Yes, you can build a house with all the tools presented to you, but it's a lot easier to figure out how to do it when you have examples and a blueprint. So very important in my opinion, towards any creators or authors out there. If you make a game, you don't have to necessarily include 3 scenarios, but please include 1 so we can, dip our foot into the pond of your game to try to figure it out if it's for us or not. All right, carrying on. A source book for the 1920s is also included in this. I would imagine that this would have been another book where it might have been a bit eye-opening, especially for those of the younger set, because believe it or not, even today there's a giant disconnect between our knowledge of how things work here, well, at least here in the United States, and also around the world, and how they actually function back in the 20s. So many times that I've run a Call of Cthulhu scenario that takes place in the 1920s, where, I don't, not being condescending or anything, but it is a bit it's a bit funny sometimes to see someone kind of have that realization of like, that wasn't available then. I can't do this. I can't do that. So having a little book like this, which once again, they do go into somewhat of a detail in the current iteration. They have an entire separate handbook, the Investigator's Handbook, to give this information to you. But I do like this, not only because it's a little bit more compressed and condensed, but I would imagine that this information is universal. There's no difference into what has happened in the 1920s as opposed to maybe some new revelations, but generally this is a universal source book that can be used not only for Call of Cthulhu, but if you're running other adventures or games set in the 20s. Highly utilitarian. Nope, that's not the term I'm looking for. Need more coffee. Anyways, it is a wonderful tool and can be, it's something, what makes a good tool is it can be used for a multitude of things, not just a singular thing. So yes, designed for the 1920s aspects of Call of Cthulhu, but definitely is something to be used anywhere. So there we go. And then, this is an actual on the cover, interesting enough, the view of the Hindenburg. I would imagine that there's probably been a 1920 scenario involving that, but in the weird and off chance that there might not have been, that would be a wonderful Call of Cthulhu scenario to play out as to what caused it to explode. All right. Sorry, get a little parched here. Carrying on. Okay, so not only did you have, or do you have, the 3 scenarios in the little core book there that was given to you, you also have the Shadows of Yog-Sothoth, a global campaign to save mankind, a complete campaign for the Call of Cthulhu, for this Call of Cthulhu edition. This would not have come with the original box set, I don't think, but this is something that has been provided to you so you can expand beyond the simple scenarios in here and fully enjoy and appreciate what this particular edition of Call of Cthulhu provided for you at the time. And as stated earlier, and I'll probably be restating this quite a bit, but it's something that can be used for the current edition with very little heavy lifting. So what do you get with the Shadows of Yog-Sothoth? It's 71 pages over the course of 7 chapters with 2 bonus scenarios and covering, let's see, a global campaign to save mankind. Let's see here, covering, let's see if I can just make this simple and easy. No, I cannot. So let me just read the paragraph here for you. A Silver Twilight is an international organization dedicated to the destruction of the human race. As brave investigators, you must piece together passages from esoteric books, shards of ancient artifacts, and puzzling letters to discover the Silver Twilight's loathsome goals. This multi-chapter adventure begins in Boston and spans the globe. The investigators must survive and conquer the mind-shattering monsters and minions of the Cthulhu mythos. Come, journey through awesome realms of reality and match your wits' insanity against diabolical lurkers in Shadows of Yog-Sothoth. There we are. And like I said, it is just over 70 pages. So there we are. Continuing on, it also comes with the Cthulhu Companion, Ghostly Adventures, and Erudite Lore. So this would have been purchased in order to expand upon the information here, giving you probably other options. Let's see, this one what it is providing to you, Cthulhu mythos and Mesoamerican religion. That's fantastic. Further notes on the Necronomicon, sourcebook editions and regarding prisons, 2 new skills, and the Lovecraftian timeline. Rulebook editions. New phobias, 2 new types of insanity, and additional deities, races, monsters for the Cthulhu mythos. Excerpts and prayers, paper chase, the mystery of Loch Fane, the rescue, the secret of Casa Negro, some poetry, sanity quiz, death scenes, and the strange high house on the hill. So were these adventures or stories? I would have to look at that in more detail. Looks like maybe a mixture of both. And oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Don't think I'll be assembling that, but that's still neat. Curious how many people actually did this back in the day. And the elder sign in the back. So there you are. So you would have, this is something you would have purchased to further expand the information and the rules of the game. And then another book that it comes with is the Asylum and Other Tales. So this would be, I would imagine, a set of different adventures, yes, including the auction, a very popular adventure within Call of Cthulhu that has been enjoyed time and time again over a variety of editions. The Madman, Black Devil Mountain, the Asylum, the Mauritania, Gate from the Past, and the Westchester House. Now, I'm not mistaken, I believe Seth Skorkowski did a review of the Asylum. I know he did one of these adventures. I'm pretty sure he didn't do all of them, but it might have been the Asylum. So check that out. If I'm wrong, enjoy one of his other videos. They're all fantastic. You're not going to be let down if I'm mistaken. And he did another video from this group of adventures. But so yeah, I mean, you are getting quite the amount of of adventures, materials, and information from this to make this worthwhile. This is not just kind of, I mean, yeah, let's be fair. This is a vanity purchase for most people who got this. Most everyone who's enjoying Call of Cthulhu currently is playing 7th edition. 7th edition is wildly supported and is continuing to come out with more and more companion books, monstrous manuals and stuff like that, and also adventures. It's nonstop. Chaosium right now is on fire, and they are a relentless workhorse as to what they're providing for all of their gaming settings, not just Call of Cthulhu. But anyways, but to make this something that is more than just a vanity purchase, I do love the fact that they have provided quite a dense amount of material here to where you can fully enjoy and immerse yourself and have the true experience as to what it was to play like in this edition without going out and spending thousands of dollars on all of these classic prints, which exist out there at ridiculous collector's prices. So thank you to that. And I wish several of the companies who still are around these days that have licenses for their older editions, I do wish that some of them would take heed on the popularity of this and have these classic reprints available for us to enjoy those for who didn't get to enjoy it back in the day, and also for the younger set. My son and his friends enjoy gaming of all aspects, new and old, and if they see something and they want to try it, it would be nice to know that you can go out and get it once again without paying ridiculous collector's prices. So, but anyways, the Trail of Tsathoggua. And if I butchered that, too damn bad. So here we are. We have another adventure. This is by Keith Herber. It is 64 pages, over 3 chapters, and in the same layout and format. Simple, easy, with wonderful, simple black and white drawings in here. And if I'm not mistaken, have some of these been redone for 7th edition already? I think they might be in another compendium of adventures of the the 2 or 3 that they have. I could be wrong, but these do ring a bell. But I will find out later, or not. But so yeah. So once again, more and more and more and more, please and thank you. And then finally, we have here, I think this is the last book, yes, before we get on to the extra materials here, Fragments of Fear, the second Cthulhu companion. And what is this adding to your already wonderful amount of information for first edition? Questions, Call of Cthulhu questions, ritual curses, an Innsmouth map, mythos comparative sizes on the ubiquity of Cthulhu, extract Edward Mordrake, a Cthulhu grimoire, lions and tigers and bears, etc. Nemesis, the underground menace, a scenario, new mythos, deities, races, and monsters, and Valley of the Four Shrines, a scenario. And once again, I just, it is 48 pages. And just the fact that all of this additional companion information, all of these wonderful things that are further expanding this edition of Call of Cthulhu is not provided in an 800-page book of just, here you go, infoed up, good luck parsing this out, and, hope you have a good time with it. It's clean, it's concise, it's easy to read, but I would imagine, with all of these wonderful people who had worked on this, the information in here is priceless. So it's not just cheap, cheap and simplified stuff for a quick dollar. This is legit, love for this particular setting and wanting to expand it further for yours and the players' enjoyments. So there we are. As we're going through here, yep, this is the end of the scenario. So yeah, so just all of this, all just condensed but not unusable condensed but not simplified, but just all of this wonderful information packed into less than 50 pages. Wonderful. Oh, yeah. Dice. Yep. Woo! Extra dice. All right. So this is where it froze yesterday. So let's see if it is going to do the same thing. But what do we have here? This is the huge map. This is not going to show on the video, but we'll just kind of place it here in the center. So the Call of Cthulhu world map with if I remember, they said a variety of different mystical locations around the world. Yes, I kind of see and take a look at some of these. This is a beautiful, beautiful map, and I imagine on the back here, yes, Arkham, a wonderful rendition of the city of Arkham, which has been done time and time again, and with a variety of details and whatnot. But once again, ease of use, simplified, and not so much detail to where you can't really add much to it. It's primarily focusing just on the streets and Miskatonic University there in the center. So we'll set that aside. And then we have, in addition to everything, a dense amount of handouts, which, when we get to part 2 of the video, we can see these in their wonderful detail and design that the H.P. Lovecraft Society does with their handouts. So we're not going to, to look at these, not to invalidate these, but that's we want to see those. Continuing on, you also, what you would have received in the original set are these neat little cutouts. This is one of the things that if you were buying a lot of the used collector's boxes from the original sets, these things would be missing, or they would be cut up in horrible shape. And to me, that just that, unless it's in pristine and perfect order, some of these prices people ask for, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and still have the audacity to say it's incomplete. They can, whatever. But moving on. So yeah, so these, you don't necessarily have to use these. They are heavy cardboard, so if you did cut them out, they would stand up. But in this day and age, you can print this on the same bit of cardboard for little or no money from your printer, have the same effect, and not have to destroy the originals. And then here we have the Call of Cthulhu Keeper screen. Now, this is something I'm not too familiar with. If this is the original format of the Keeper screen, it looks like it may not be. It does seem to have a bit of a modern formatting to it. I could be wrong about that, but it's wonderful. One of the things I've always given Chaosium credit for, in my personal opinion, and it doesn't really matter if you use or care or if you love GM screens, as far as I'm concerned, in this day and age, Chaosium puts out the absolute 100% best GM screens, keeper screens, whatever you want to call it, that provides just about the perfect amount of information for what you're going to need at any specific time within the game without having to go back and flip through the rule books to find it. Beautiful, useful, and just a wonderful way of they just know. It's fairly rare, unless it's specific, that I go to a Chaosium screen looking for something on there and I don't find it. And that is a skill that I wish every gaming company could. There's some screens out there that are just absolutely useless. No offense. Most of them are beautiful. The front side, that's it, but that's easy. It's the information that you have on here that takes quite a bit of research. Obviously, knowing your game well enough to just put what's needed on there and keep the stuff out that you don't necessarily need for every session. It's a skill. It's a learned skill. It's something that doesn't come easy. But know that Chaosium does it very, very well. Right? And then finally, we have, and am I frozen? No, I'm still there. Great. Finally, we have the size comparison chart. I'll pull this out here. And there we go. So you have an example of a regular human here, complete with a walking stick. So, excuse me a moment. So as you can see, a variety, excuse me, a variety of sizes and shapes that these horrors, monstrosities, and just cosmic entities come in. And a lot of these aren't set in stone. They're just kind of what they want you to see if you encounter them. But for the most part, it's something to give or add to the horror aesthetic the of the game. That you're not a D&D superhero, and no amount of bullets, knives, or guns are going to, allow you to take down this typical Star Spawn of Cthulhu when you're this little tiny man with your little tiny cane. So, yes, these are not things you go at full force with guns and bombs akimbo. You find other ways to deal with them, or you run like hell. Because generally speaking, there's really nothing on here that if you go up against one-on-one that you will survive on your own without being somewhat prepared, a large amount of luck, and maybe utilizing unconventional means. So there we go. So that is everything that's inside the 40th anniversary collector's edition reprint of Call of Cthulhu. Very happy with the amount of information that they provided in this. This is, in my opinion, above and beyond what would have been required to do this. They could have simply just, reprinted this alone, and that would have pleased the collector's aesthetic for most people, including myself, and would have may have been used, but for realistically speaking, it probably would have just been referenced, read for fun. Maybe a scenario done just to get the feeling of it and put back on the shelf, and carrying on with seventh edition Call of Cthulhu. But this right here, all of this materials, all these support materials here, lights a fire of excitement inside of me. I want to play within this edition of Call of Cthulhu. I want to have a full experience of what it would have been like at the time when it had came out. And just to kind of give a better perspective on what this game was like, what it was trying to do at the time, and have a comparison to what it is that I'm doing when I'm running my 7th edition Call of Cthulhu games these days. Whoop, turn that around. So fantastic job, Chaosium. This is a wonderful, wonderful product. And we'll kind of flip that over on the back, just to kind of take a look at it. And so here we are. Enter the awesome universes of the Cthulhu mythos, those dread tales in which magic, science, arcane lore, dark destinies irrevocably sear the lives of those for whom the bizarre and the curious have unseemly attraction. Specifically designed to portray the situations and denizens of the mythos, Call of Cthulhu uses a variant of the BRP system, adding characteristics for sanity and education. The special 40th anniversary limited edition includes far more in the box than the original. So what's in the box? Which we essentially have gone over. So, but just a recap here. Call of Cthulhu, which explains the characteristics, skills, occupations, resources available to investigators. Carrying on, we have a source book for the 1920s. And in addition to that, there are character and monster silhouettes for play, a ruby-colored anniversary dice set, character sheets, and a world map of dig sites. That's what it is. Shadows of Yog-Sothoth, a global campaign to save mankind, the Asylum and Other Tales, 7 short or sinister scenarios set around the world and at sea, the Cthulhu Companion, 4 scenarios, as well as added rules and source material, Trail of Tsathoggua, a mini campaign of 2 scenarios, plus a 3rd adventure, Call of Cthulhu Keeper Screen with useful tables and references for during play, and finally, Fragments of Fear, additional gods, background, and other material, as well as a scenario. And checking one more time before I close out here. Yes, I am still moving. I am still alive. I'm not frozen like this. So, anyways, that has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing of the Call of Cthulhu 40th anniversary reprint of 1st edition, 2nd edition. I once again, I believe it's 1st edition. I could be wrong, but yes. So wonderful, wonderful product. Very happy to have opened this and share it with you all. I believe, I don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% certain that this will be available for the general public. Check it out. Go on Chaosium's website. Go to the Kickstarter. See what what the case may be. I think it might be at least in some sort of limited edition, as people usually it seems like once people have received all their Kickstarters, if something is left, then that will be put up on either the Kickstarter backer kit site or on Chaosium's site. But yes, fantastic job on this, above and beyond the Call of Cthulhu. Sorry, I make myself laugh. That's good enough for me. So look for part two. Part two we'll be opening up the prop set from the H.P. Lovecraft Society. I'm looking forward to that. Hope you are too. If you like this video and you feel inclined, go ahead and subscribe, share it, whatever the case may be. Information regarding this will be down in the notes. And likewise, if you enjoy this, check me out on the Titter Pigs podcast I do with Keith from Rolling Boxcars. There'll be a link down in the description to take you there also. Hopefully, we'll be picking that back up soon. The podcast has also been a victim of the situation here with the plumbing, so that's been put on hold. But possibly soon, Keith and I will be getting back. And at the very least, before they continue with the construction here, because they will, Keith and I may just do a short podcast regarding us going to Gen Con and other insights on that whole thing. So look forward to that. So once again, I'm Scott. This has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. Thank you and take care. And where's the stupid button? There we are. Take care.